Welcome back to America's Biggest Crimes. Today, we're diving into a case that shook a small Florida community to its core. A story of youth, crime, and irreversible consequences. In 2023, 3 teenagers were brutally murdered in Ocklawaha, Florida. The twist: the perpetrators were also teenagers, one of them just 12 years old. His name is Christopher Atkins, and at 15, he's now facing 40 years in prison. How did a child so young end up in such a dark place? What drove this tragedy? And what does it say about our society? Stick with me as we unpack this heartbreaking case. Before starting, let's do a quick magic. Pause for 5 seconds and hit the subscribe button. If you have created that magic, thank you for subscribing. Ocklawaha is a small, unincorporated community in Marion County, Florida, about 70 miles northwest of Orlando. It's the kind of place where everyone knows each other, where life moves slowly, and crime is usually petty. But in March 2023, this quiet town became the backdrop for a horrific crime that made national headlines. 3 teenagers, Layla Silvernail, Camille Quarles, and Michael Hodo Jr., were found dead, their bodies scattered across different locations over 3 days. The brutality of the murders and the ages of the suspects shocked the community and beyond. To understand this case, we need to start with the victims. Layla, Camille, and Michael were all between 16 and 17 years old, full of life and potential. They were friends, reportedly hanging out together on the night of March 30th, 2023. But something went terribly wrong. Let's break down the timeline of this tragedy, based on police reports and court documents. On March 30th, 2023, at around 10:48 p.m., a resident in Silver Springs, near Ocklawaha, reported hearing 4 or 5 loud pops. A girl was found unconscious near a dumpster, shot in the head. That was 16-year-old Layla Silvernail. She was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to her injuries. The next morning, March 31st, the body of 17-year-old Michael Hodo Jr. was found on the side of a dirt road, also shot in the head. Then, on April 1st, authorities discovered Layla's stolen car submerged in a pond. Inside the trunk was 16-year-old Camille Quarles, shot twice. Investigators quickly determined the 3 victims were killed at the same time, likely in Layla's car. The suspects? 3 other teenagers who knew the victims: Robert Robinson, 17, Taj Bruton, 16, and Christopher Atkins, just 12 years old. Sheriff Billy Woods described the crime as execution style, with no clear motive beyond robbery and possible gang ties. He said, and I quote, "There is no honor among thieves." According to arrest affidavits, the group was together that night, possibly involved in a robbery spree. Atkins claimed Bruton shot Layla and Michael, and he was coerced into shooting Camille, fearing for his family's safety. Robinson allegedly admitted to shooting one victim to prevent her from snitching. The suspects then dumped the bodies in separate locations to cover their tracks. The Marion County Sheriff's Office, led by Sheriff Billy Woods, worked tirelessly with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the U.S. Marshal Service. Using phone records, text messages, photos, and tips from the community, they linked Atkins, Robinson, and Bruton to the crime. On April 7th, Atkins was arrested at his home, and Robinson, already in custody for a prior charge, was linked to the murders. Bruton, considered armed and dangerous, was apprehended in Lake County on April 8th after a manhunt with a $10,000 reward. What makes this case so chilling is the ages of the suspects. Christopher Atkins, at 12, became one of the youngest people in Florida history to be charged with murder as an adult. Sheriff Woods expressed heartbreak, saying he looked into the eyes of Atkins' mother and saw her pain. But he also emphasized accountability, stating, "They took a life without thought." In May 2023, a grand jury indicted Robinson and Bruton on 3 counts of first-degree murder, while Atkins faced 1 count, along with charges of armed robbery and tampering with evidence. All 3 were charged as adults, a decision that sparked debate due to Atkins' age. In April 2025, Atkins, now 15, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder as part of a plea deal. He agreed to testify against Robinson and Bruton, who was set to be sentenced the day after Atkins. On July 22, 2025, a Marion County judge sentenced Christopher Atkins to 40 years in prison, with a review possible after 25 years. Prosecutors called him the least culpable of the 3, citing his cooperation and young age. The defense highlighted his unstable upbringing and remorse, but the judge noted the irreversible harm done. Layla's grandmother spoke at the sentencing, saying, "I hope they see Layla's face every night when they close their eyes." This case isn't just about one tragedy, it's part of a broader conversation about juvenile crime. In 2024, Full Measure reported a nationwide spike in crimes committed by children. In New Orleans, murders by juveniles were up 40%. In Minneapolis, juvenile homicide cases more than doubled since 2021. Sheriff Woods called for accountability, saying, "If we don't change, it's only going to get worse." Atkins' case raises tough questions. At 12, was he fully aware of his actions? Should a child that young face adult consequences? Florida's decision to charge him as an adult isn't unique. Other states have done the same in extreme cases, but it forces us to ask, where's the line between justice and rehabilitation? And what role do upbringing, environment, and even gang influence play in cases like this? The Ocklawaha triple homicide left scars that won't heal. Families lost their children, a community lost its sense of safety, and 3 young suspects lost their futures. Layla, Camille, and Michael were more than victims. They were kids with dreams, friends, and families. Their loss reminds us how fragile life is. Christopher Atkins will be in his 50s when he's eligible for a sentence review. Robinson and Bruton face similar fates. But no sentence can bring back the lives lost. This case is a wake-up call to parents, communities, and lawmakers about the need to address youth crime before it spirals further. This story is a tragedy on every level. It's a reminder of the stakes when young people go down the wrong path, and the pain that ripples out from their choices. What are your thoughts on this case? Should 12-year-olds ever be charged as adults? How can we prevent tragedies like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. If this story moved you, please share it, like, and subscribe for more deep dives into cases that matter. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.